Welcome to Cdvv Book on Tape, The Lip Flapper, Volume 16, Fallchild 42. Tonight, the part of Code Zidum will be played by Fallchild 42, and the part of Fallchild 42 will be played by In the Stow, Copycat Revolver, and Zephyr Star. Disclaimer: these interviews are not associated with AMV.org or its administration, and the Lip Flapper is not meant for use outside of Earth's orbit. Such uses may result in shark-related injuries. Description: welcome to the Lip Flapper. Each week we delve deep into the community and get a look into both individual members as well as group discussions on various issues that surround our hobby. This week in the Lip Flapper, this week as we speak to Fallchild 42 and actually get to Kazimon 15's AMV review. Interview Spotlight. If you've even remotely had your head in AMVs, you will likely be aware that Fallchild 42 is the master of comedy, voice acting, and all sorts of silly/funny things that make our community laugh. Oh, and all the bronies are likely to know him as the project coordinator behind Ponies the Anthology. The Interview. Thank you very much for being with me today, Fallchild 42. How about we begin with you introducing yourself, letting us know a little bit about yourself, and telling us what your favorite AMV is.
The year was 2142, 2 years after the Greatest War, 12 years after the Pretty Good War, and 35 years after the incredibly damn mediocre war, which consisted mainly of drunken insults and the waving of sticks. Japan was the only nation that survived the war intact. 5 years prior, they had shrouded themselves in an impenetrable papier-mâché dome made from recycled Akira Toriyama model. Much like the brand new sleeping bag, once Japan opened, there was no way they were ever going to fit back in their original package. You just fold it back on the creases. In 2 short years, Japanese culture spreads to the far corners of the globe. It's 2:30 a.m. in post-apocalyptic southern Ontario, renamed Neo-Tokyo by its new residents. A grizzled man walks down Lakeshore Boulevard, bathed in the reds and blues of neon signs. A frigid mist hangs over the city of Neo-Tokyo. Single drops of rain begin to pelt the man's tattered and soiled raincoat. Ew. He hunches over there, and there's a sudden burst of light as a flame ignites the tip of his Haruhi brand cigarette. This is a man that has seen more than one man should ever see, and yet something about this night unnerves him. This is not a normal night in Neo-Tokyo Nordanyanto. The faces of people are colder, the neon signs don't shine quite so bright, and despite the activity surrounding him, everything is eerily silent. The normal sounds of the city are gone. All he hears are his own dress shoes hitting the LCD sidewalk. Tap, tap, tap. A baby's cry pierces the night air. Fatherless, perhaps a bastard child. I was that baby. Laying in an empty bowl on the counter of all-night ramen stand, I was traded for an extra-large order of pork udon. The ramen stand owner had a special on that day. Extra large udon, $5.99 or one baby. My new parent, Yamamoto Toto, was a cruel master. I was whipped mercilessly until I learned all of the specials. Tuesday, beef ramen, $6.99. Wednesday, curry rice, $8.99. Thursday, extra large udon, $5.99 or one baby. He also demanded I sing Enka to all the customers and was pelted with Naruto every time I did not make apt analogies. Your analogies are not apt enough, he would scream at me, his words cascading down my young face, along with all the bits of spittle and fried chicken that were simultaneously ejected from his horrendous maw. For 14 years I suffered under the tyrannical rule of Yamamoto, the cruel ramen slinger. I had enough. While he slept, I murdered him with a pair of Hello Kitty chopsticks. I was free. Such was the law. I survived on the streets. I was invisible but not deaf. I heard things from people. The types of people that hang out in the city back alleys of Neo-Tokyo no. The Triads seem to have gotten their hands on something. A device that would let me escape this horrible place. I waited until the right moment, and I snuck into the basement of the Royal Bank of Canada, financial institution and pachinko parlor. There it was. I don't know how those Triads had done it, but they were in possession of a 3-foot-tall robotic Nikolai Tesla. The mini robo-Tesla had set to work early creating a time machine. I had no idea what the Triads were planning, but I knew what I wanted to do. I set it to 1998, jumped in, and was transported back to Ontario in its perfect state. Here I was, in old primitive Ontario. It was confusing. The air was clean. The signs were in English and some other indecipherable language. People were smiling. I needed to feel at home. I needed a place where I belonged. A place that reminded me of my neon and dystopian home time. I went to Anime North. This is where I saw my first AMV contest. People were cheering, smiling, laughing. These are sounds I'm not accustomed to. I liked them. I wanted to make people make these noises. And that is how I got into AMVs. P.S. My favorite AMV is probably the one I show the most during my AMV panels and showcases. It would be Mama by Otohikurodo. I love it for a couple reasons. A. It's so out there, well synced and bizarre, it makes me laugh. B. Otohiko later showed me the movie that the audio came from, which I quickly became a fan of. So that just made the video better for me. C. A. Wah. Mick Wagner walked up to me one of my panels and asked how long Mama was. I told him it was a little over 4 minutes. He responded, "You really hate these people, don't you?"
One of the most notable things you are known for is comedy videos and just basic hilarity in everything that you do. In fact, you've made an AMV about making comedy AMVs. What makes you enjoy comedy so much?
Sometimes I take humor seriously, Desu. Sometimes I take seriousness humorously, kawaii, sugoi. Either way, it is irrelevant. Onegai, Maltu Tomo-sama. I think I'll answer this question by describing my thoughts in a kawaii series of Onegai limericks, Desu. Poem number 1. Why I started making moe comedy AMVs. An ode to a code monkey. Believe it. There once was an editor named Tin One-chan Sama. His funny videos he did when Baka. The crap that I saw, Desu. That's hard to give pause, Desu. So I wish I could be just like him. Sugoi. Do you guys know any other Japanese words? Because I don't.
Just start adding in food.
Poll number 2. Is there anyone that doesn't like comedy? Pikachu. Richard not can believe kawaii jokes were dead. Laughter is only for chumps, said manga. But Birch said we should laugh, not cry, so stop being such a huge dickhead, Liam. Poem number 3. Seriously, non-moe limericks just aren't funny, Desu. Japan, Nippon, Ichi, Nord. Sometimes my friends feel down, and I can't do this anymore. My voice.
You only have 2 more limericks to go.
Okay, I got this. And that also gives me a frown, Baka. If it makes them smile for a little while, and that makes me the happiest guy in town, Desu. Poem number 4, a non-ugu sequitur, because the serious limericks are not very good. Fuck.
Hello?
There was a young man at the fair who tried to have what? Who tried to have sex with a bear, but the mean, nasty brute took a swipe at his root and left nothing but testes and hair. Dude, that's gross.
Is there anything you'd like to say to potential comedic editors as advice on how to best execute their ideas?
Yes, one moment, please. In order to answer this question, I must first ask, what is comedy? I simply don't know. I think I know, but in reality, no one knows. Nobody knows anything, and everything is true. So what I might find funny, you might not find funny at all. Does this mean that my knowledge of what comedy is better than yours? Well, of course. But I'm sorry, no. It simply means that it's different. If you define comedy as specifically using your left foot to crush a vintage 1984 Pepsi can, that is equally as true as my assertion that comedy is what makes me laugh. What the fuck does that mean? I don't even... What are we talking about again? Does it matter? Is it matter? Is this making you madder? Matter matters often makes mad matters matter. Oh, right. I would say figure out what makes you laugh first, what amuses you. And then often you'll find other people find it funny as well. Failing that, you could always try lip syncing.
Okay. As a personal inquiry, you seem to be the person behind the years of the picture of a dinosaur, picture of a shark, picture of a bear, period. Where does this come from? Why a dinosaur? Why the shark? Why the bear?
You forgot pirate. It's pirate dinosaur shark bear. Here are the bears turning into great already. Look at this animal. The Crunchyroll News 12/02/27 preview our review for Polar Cafe anime. It's coming out this April. Doki Doki is the one that the Odama has to the org. I'm not responsible for them at all, but he always picks good ones. I'm not sure why people assume I have any control over it. Every year they're like, why didn't you do this? Or what about this? I just get the information and pass it along from a higher power. Though it's really good to see people are adopting it quite readily. I think, just for you, Code, I will draw a combination of all your spirits up to this point. And then there's this picture where it's like a shark and like it's got bare hands and it's doing the little cat cradle thing. Like you don't see the string, but whatever. And then there's like a dinosaur and it's all like, hey, where's my eyes? Oh, my eyes are gone. I'm gonna wear a hat. I'm pretty sure that's the best thing I've ever drawn, ever.
You seem to bring a lot of voice acting related works, Cdvv on tape, Hall and Louder, etc. Is there something about the spoken voice that you enjoy using? Breathing outside the anime world. You are the coordinator behind the MLP project known as the Anthology, as well as having edited every using MLP FIM audio. What is it about MLP FIM that you enjoy the most, and what inspired you to work on such a project?
Well, I tell you, I like them ponies. I like the show because
excuse me. My name is Servo, and I just thought that with my absence from the community, that I'd like to interject with this list of Latin words that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Abus, abatus, abatia, abduco, abio, obsequio. Thank you for your time. This has been a message from Servo.
Hold up. We have an outsider breaking in right now. Who clearly needs to add to this CDV book on tape. Fall Child 42 will also now be played by Decoy Ops. We'll click that link right now.
I don't know what's going on. What?
Click that link.
On.
Click that link. Click it.
Okay, hold on.
Click it.
There's no link. What are you
Like
talking
it's
about?
in the Skype chat.
Hold on, Skype.
Alright, so we have no idea where Decoy went. He disappeared as mysteriously as he appeared. Let me open this shit again. Well, before I start this last question that somebody was going to read, any requests on how I read this? Speaking of outside the anime world question again.
Where are we?
Speaking of outside the anime world.
Oh, are we gonna like restart at that question?
I don't know, maybe. No, wait,
Servo broke in, so you should just ignore this question altogether and move to the next one.
No, you should
And, like cut it right as Servo finishes, and then just be like, okay, next question.
you totally have to read the answer.
Oh, the next one? Yeah, I will.
No, I mean of this one.
Oh.
We'll start at the second paragraph, I guess.
Yeah. Sure. Who's ever reading it?
Chris.
Lost it. Okay, Chris.
All right. How far did I get? I think I just made it till
just start at the second paragraph.
Ponies.
Yep.
Getting character here.
And scene.
Ponies Anthology is just really 100% stolen from Zerk's Rooks. I'm a master thief and Zerk's is none the wiser. I tell you, it wasn't easy stealing this concept from him. No, I don't know if you're aware, but Zerk's lives in a house on an aircraft carrier in a castle in an active volcano. Getting to his room while he slumbered was difficult enough. Among other things, I had to collect the 6 sacred crystals of Germany, traverse the maze of ultimate doom, win a game of 4-dimensional, go against him, death himself, some bitch. Fend off Xerxes' hordes of trained attack geese, sit down for a pleasant cup of tea with a woman named Ethel, and finally return the 6 sacred crystals of Germany. When I got home, I was making a second music video and suddenly said to the other guys on Scup, hey, what the hell? Y'all want to make that AMV hell shit with ponies? They said yes. You shouldn't put this in the lip flapper also. It's not for public publication. Does that work?
This is making us hard to like keep going with code voices. Care to share a little information behind the anthology too? And what we might expect to see? Is it ATLEAST 20% cooler?
Sorry, I have a cat in my...
You have a cat in your throat? You should...
Yes, I have a cat in my throat. Excuse me. YouTube, link, anthology, the ponies on, Ebert, Roger, Things Funny says that cat is a anthology, to anthology, the ponies on, to dinosaur. It enjoy really will, people, I think, contact, custom of amounts, huge, and it on, working, people talented, you have cool and tons, we have T anthology, to ponies on, it, nothing, it, or all, its perspective there, from pretentious of the Oscar Wilde, to anthology of ponies on, Hypedog, woof, 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 woof. 2 anthology, the ponies on.
You've been around the community for a long time. What do you think of it today as compared to when you first started?
Okay, this is Servo again. And I would just like to read this answer, but elaborate on it because I do not think the terms used in it are properly defined, as Stanley Kubrick would define them. So I would like you to think, which is when you use your brain to activate a neuron, also known as neurotransmission of the community, which is, of course, obviously when a bunch of like-minded people gather around in similar interest to discuss their interest, like a balloon, which is typically red but not always, and it is usually a piece of rubber or latex, which you inflate with either air or helium. Previously, they would be inflated with hydrogen, the first element, which consists of one proton and one electron, until the Hindenburg in the early 20th century lit on fire, which is known as one of the greatest tragedies in recorded human history. Of course, I shouldn't have to say recorded human history because history is, by definition, recorded. Now, when I joined, which is to say, when I entered the so-called AMV anime music video community, it was all bright, which is the opposite of darkness, as in filled with light from the sun, which is a class N yellow star that fuses hydrogen into helium, and colorful, that is not only black and white, but filled with colors from the visible spectrum of light, that is red, green. Fuck, what are the colors of the rainbow?
Roy G. Biv.
Right. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Oh, no, indigo's not a color anymore.
Indigo. What happened to Indigo? Those Indigo girls are going to be really upset.
And shiny and new. That is to say, it was not old. I had never, which is the opposite of always, been around a balloon, as I has previously defined, this big and spectacular before. But before long as in the duration of time, not a measurement of distance, the balloon was not new to me. New, obviously, in reference to the time duration that had passed. And while the novelty, not as in the kinds of books or the adult toys that you use, but the newness of something to me in terms of time duration had worn off. Worn being in terms of how used it had been, not as in wearing clothes. I became very familiar. A familiar is sometimes an animal that follows around a wizard or a witch or a warlock, but in this case, I just mean something that you are accustomed to or know very well with it. I like having it around. I don't have anything to say about that sentence that uses too many simple words. Sadly, air, or the atmosphere, which is mostly composed of nitrogen but also consists of oxygen and other trace elements, does not want to stay in a balloon and often escapes. This is probably because of this is because of impurities in the quality of the rubber used to create the balloon. I'm going to say it like that for now. So the balloons begin to shrink. That means their volume is reduced relative to what it was before. The air went off to do other things, although I do not know what other things air can actually do, because air is not a free-acting agent, or Dasein, as Heidegger would explain it. In fact, air just sits there and can only react passively when there's another catalyst and sufficient energy to start a chemical reaction, such as combustion, which is when oxygen combines with other things, like carbon, to create fire. That is combustion. Thank you. Some of it even fills up other very similar balloons. However, they do not need to be identical. For example, the balloons could be blue or yellow or green, as you will see in birthday parties, which are very festive, that are celebrated once a year on the date of an individual's birth. But even though my balloon is smaller, I still really like the balloon. How's that person pronounce it? Balloon?
Balloon.
Balloon. But even though my balloon is smaller, I still really like the balloon. Maybe we can add more air into it. Although I would suggest against using helium, because there is a helium shortage in the world right now, and party balloons are actually the problem. Fuck, you actually said that in the interview! We can't use helium, dude. That's actually exactly what you said. Okay, fuck it, I'm done.
It's full circle. Like the circle of life.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Oh, you wanted me to actually do it. Well, here are some tips. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Good. Do what you want, then have some fun doing it. If you have fun, your audience will too. Take your friends to parties, but don't let parties take your friends. Alcohol is bad, except when it's good. Be good, drink milk and alcohol, and think of Russia. Do svidanya, Fall Child 42.
And this has been another Cdvv Book on Tape. This week's episode was The Lip Flapper, Volume 16, Interview with Fall Child 42. The part
Please
of
turn
code.
off the cassette now.
The part of. Please turn the tape over now. The part of Fall Child 42 was played by Zephyr Star, Copycat Revolver, and In the Stow, and Servo, and Kind of Decoy. The part of Code ZTM was played by Fall Child 42. Thank you, and good night.